Is your baby tired of lying down on the floor? Perhaps your arms are getting so tired of holding her so much, and when you sit her on the floor, does she need constant support so she doesn't fall over? Well, by the end of this video, you will have a better understanding of sitting and how you can help your kiddo eventually sit by themselves. Hello, my name is Tim Rosner. I'm a doctor of pediatric physical therapy, and welcome to Tummy Time Academy. Now let's talk about sitting, and I'd like to share with you how I quickly assess a kiddo's core strength when sitting. We're going to start off by breaking down the anatomy really quick into 7 zones, because at Tummy Time Academy, this is what we do. We break down the science so we have a better understanding of our kid so then we can help them better. So the first zone that we're going to talk about is here at the neck, and we're going to group it all together as the cervical spine. And in anatomy, cervical typically refers to the neck. Now, the next region of the spine is called the thoracic region, and I like to think about that this is where the torso is, or perhaps the thorax. And from the neck to between the shoulder blades, we're going to label as the upper thoracic spine. And from the middle of the shoulder blades to the bottom of the shoulder blades, we're going to call the middle thoracic spine. And then from the bottom of the shoulder blades to around the bottom of the rib cage here in the back, we're going to call it the lower thoracic spine. And the next region of our spine is called the lumbar region. This is probably where a lot of you have heard the term lumbar before, as it typically refers to our lower back. I know myself, I've had lower back pain in the past, and it is a pain in the back. You can also think about the desk chairs or perhaps cars that offer lumbar support, right? That's that little bump that kind of sticks out in your back and provides you some postural support. So let's label the area between the bottom of the ribs to where the hip bones protrude in the back as the upper lumbar spine. And then from those hip bones down towards the tailbone, above these divots here, we're going to call that the lower lumbar spine. And then at the end of the spine, we have our last region, which is at the tailbone. Let's call that the sacrum. Now, we all know what good posture, what bad posture looks like, right? Most of you are probably readjusting right now that I brought it up. I know that my 8 a.m. classes, learning about science and anatomy, maybe you guys are turning on my channel and, oh no, not another one of these. But now that we bring up posture, whoop, here we go. And most likely what you did was sit up taller, you extended your spine or had your spine go a bit more upright, and maybe even adjusted how far forward or how far back you were sitting. And again, we did this to fix that forward rounded position. Now, if you haven't already, I encourage you to watch my previous video up here, your complete guide to tummy time for newborns. And in that guide, I go about how a newborn or a baby, they typically progress strength-wise in this top to bottom pattern, meaning that the first thing that they're going to strengthen is their neck, then their shoulders, then their upper chest, then their core, their hips, their legs, to the point when they're independently walking by themselves. So we're going to do a little activity here, and what I want you to do is take these 7 areas that I illustrated before and try to figure out what area do you see our kiddos start to have bad posture or the rounded back position. And we're going to look at this starting from the top region down towards the bottom. The kiddo on the screen here looks like they have good neck posture or head control. His upper and mid-thoracic spine, they look upright, extended, but we start to see around this lower thoracic region is when his spine starts to round a little bit too much. So I would say that his core strength seems a bit limited around that lower thoracic region. So let's try another baby, and I apologize. I really wanted to include this baby in this video because she's so dang cute. And I apologize because it's hard to see, like she's wearing a white shirt and the beddings are white, so it's sorry. But anyway, you can see where the back is if you squint. I want to give you a couple of seconds and take a guess where you feel like their core strength is limited, and then we can compare answers. All right, I'm going to pull up the 7 regions here, and it looks like they're holding up their head really well. This kiddo's their upper back, the middle, and the lower thoracic spine are all upright and extended. She has much better posture than I do when I'm sitting down like that. Even into the upper lumbar spine, that looks really good too. We can start to see there's a little bit of curvature down where her lower lumbar spine, and possibly even at the bottom here, the sacrum. But man, that is so good. And we can see that her core strength is so good that she's sitting by herself on this on a surface that has a bit of give to it, like a bed, right? It's harder to stand and balance or sit and balance on a bed compared to sitting on the floor, because the floor doesn't have any give at all. And we're going to do one more example here, but instead of a picture, we're going to do a video. Now, for videos, this is my way to simulate like a real world case where, kiddo just isn't standing still. That'd be kind of odd. I want you to take a look at this baby's back and then take a mental image of when you think they have the best posture, and then use that picture in your mind to assess their core strength. So what do you think? I want you to pause here if you're still working on your answer. Otherwise, I'm going to be pulling up the picture that I used for my assessment in 3, 2, and 1. Did we use the same picture? It looks like this kiddo has good neck control. They have good upper and middle thoracic strength, but he starts to round forward a little bit too much at that lower thoracic region, and then everything below that is also rounded. Well, that's great and all, but we only have half of the story, Tim. How do we work on improving their core strength? Well, you're going to use your hands around the area that's limited to isolate that region until they've built up enough core strength to move down to the next area. For example, let's take the kiddo that we just looked at. What we see here is that the mom is supporting them, especially with her left hand right underneath this kiddo's armpit. So they're supporting that like upper to middle thoracic region. And we know that we've seen that they have enough strength to extend or bring that part of their spine upright. So I would actually coach this mom to bring her hands down a little bit lower to cover that lower thoracic region. And I want to elaborate on this mom who's holding them a little bit too high, because we want the exercise to be hard enough that the kiddo is actually getting something out of it, right? It's like, let's say that I could run a marathon, but then, for exercise I decided to go for a casual walk. I'm not going to get much out of it. Yeah, I'm going to have a way to keep my legs moving and all like that, but it's really not going to make me that much stronger and much better at doing a marathon, because it's too easy. We want it to be challenging enough for this kiddo to get something out of it. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate. I don't want it to be too tough, right? Let's say we take myself again, in my current state, and I ask myself to run on the treadmill. Maybe I'm going to try to do a 4-minute mile today. Yeah. I know that I would struggle with the challenge, and it's just going to be not a fun time. And in the kiddo's case, if we're not giving them enough support, let's say we're just supporting around where his legs meet into his hips, then he's probably going to be all over the place, perhaps crying, not being able to play with toys. It's not going to be fun. So I want you to assess your kid, look at those 7 areas, and decide where he needs the support. Now, we talked about kiddos just sitting still today, and there's so much more to sitting than that. We can get into sitting on an exercise ball while they're supported by their parents. We can talk about sitting and then them having to reach out for toys in front of them, or perhaps overhead to the side, or even them using hands or their arms on the floor for support. And that's just the icing on the cake. There's so much to sitting that we can talk about, but for today's video, I wanted to keep it simple. So make sure you hit that like and hit that subscribe button and stay tuned to my videos when we finally discuss those topics. First off, I want to thank you so much for watching my videos. Again, this is Tummy Time Academy, and not only do we look at the how, but we also look at the why. Because I believe that by helping you parents out there understand the science behind these early childhood development topics, you can become more than just the parent that provides food, clothes, shelter, and of course your love, but also become the parent that helps your kid learn and explore and ultimately thrive. Again, my name is Tim Rossner, and I will see you guys in the next one.